So now we're going to talk about equations with absolute value in them. So think about absolute value. You know, if you have the absolute value of 7, it equals 7. But if you have the absolute value of negative 7, it also equals 7, right? Okay, so an equation could be something like, what's the absolute value of x? Like, if you have the absolute value of x equaling, 10. Well, then you have to consider two things. X could be 10, or x could be negative 10, right? Because if I take the absolute value of 10, I get 10. But if I take the absolute value of negative 10, I also get 10. So I get two solutions. So there's one with a positive case and one with a negative case. Now, I'm going to talk just briefly about two special situations. Let's say you have the absolute value of x equals 0. Well, then just x equals 0. There's no negative 0, so you only get one answer there. Let's say you have the absolute value of x equals negative 15. Well, then there's going to be no solution because the absolute value can't be a negative number, right? Okay, so those are kind of just special situations over here. I don't know that we're going to see those, but in case they come up. Okay, so now look at that scary equation. Well, first isolate absolute value. Okay, so we have this equation here. I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. So I get 4 times the absolute value of 1 minus 3/4 x equals 3. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 4. So divide by 4, divide by 4. So those 4s are canceling. So now what I have is the absolute value of 1 minus 3/4 x equals 3/4. Okay, that's exciting. So now you have just the absolute value by itself. So after you get it isolated, so that's step 1, then you're going to make two equations. So if you have the absolute value of x equals b, then you're going to have x equals negative b. I usually put the negative one on the left, or x equals b. So you're going to have two separate equations. Okay, so here's my absolute value part. I'm going to have 1 minus 3/4 x equals negative 3/4. So I'm going to put that negative case on the left, or 1 minus 3/4 x equals the positive case. Could just equal positive 3/4. All right, so now we have to solve each of these separately. So I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. So I have negative 3/4 x equals, okay, that's negative 3/4 minus 4 over 4, right? You got to get a common denominator. Fractions. Fractions are our friends. So you have negative 3/4 x equals negative 7/4. Okay, now how do you get rid of that negative 3/4? You're going to multiply by the reciprocal, which is negative 4/3. And so those are going to cancel, those are going to cancel, and I just have x. And then on this side, the 4s are going to cancel. Negative times a negative is positive, so I'm getting 7/3. Okay, there's one answer. So you might have to rewind it and watch that. I kind of was doing it fast, but that was just my fraction work. Okay, what do I get over here? Well, same process. I'm going to subtract 1, which is 4 over 4. Like I could just use that. Those cancel. So now I have negative 3/4 x equals negative 1/4, right? Yeah, 3 minus 4 is negative 1. Okay, now I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, which is going to be negative 4/3 on each side. Okay, so those cancel, and I just get x equals, negative times negative is positive, 4's cancel, so it looks like I'm getting 1/3. So it looks like I have two answers, oopsies, 7/3 and 1/3. All right, that's exciting. So a little bit of fraction work on that one.